Well, what a strange day it's been. Despite the warm weather and being at relatively low elevation, got stopped by the snow. A gate that was open when I first went through it had been closed by the Forest Service when I came back to it an hour later. I crashed my drone. Helped a logger in a Ford F-350 who was stuck in the snow. Let's just go all the way back and start at the beginning. No trips with the Mazda yet. Might actually do that at some point, but at the moment, in sort of a little bit of a frustrating struggle with something that's not working right. That's another story for another day. Trying to get that worked out, not really knowing what I'm doing. No, we're gonna take the Frontier today. It's just gotta mail a sticker. I do have stickers available on my website if you would like to have one on your water bottle or your cooler. So it is mid-March, and once again I'm up in a little area of national forest I've never visited before, an area that I often pass by on my way to further destinations. Now, the past several months, year or so, I've really been trying to sort of infill my knowledge of some of these areas that I've just gone by my whole entire life without ever exploring. And I'm not planning to get up to super high elevation today. I was encouraged at first as I came up this forest road and I could see snow, much higher up on the tallest nearby peaks. And I knew that I wasn't going to be getting that high. But already now in the shadows, I am seeing patches of snow where the sun hasn't hit. The little side roads that I want to explore, I think may still have some patches of snow left on them. And I may end up having to change course today. So, see what we find. Well, this is not at all where I planned to be. This is a little campground right on the river here. I didn't even know it was here. Now it is still really early in the day and I haven't even got up to the area that I wanted to explore. But it is nice to know that if I run into too much slushy snow and nothing else pans out, oh, this is a beautiful little spot. It's Tuesday, no one's coming in here today, I'm sure. At the risk of repeating myself yet again, you really don't have to necessarily know exactly where you're gonna go and camp. Like, just get up into national forest land and start exploring. There's things to find. I didn't know this was gonna be here. It's an awesome spot. Even if I don't camp here tonight, I would happily come back and camp here another time.
Sure enough, as I'm gaining elevation, I'm seeing more and more snow. Won't be surprised if I don't get as far up into this area as I'd hoped, but that's okay, sometimes you just have to improvise. That often turns out to be just as interesting as whatever I had originally planned.
Well, so yeah, I am getting into snow, shady areas. And one of the side roads that I wanted to take is marked as road closed. Looked like there were some trees down further up the way and not that much snow, but it was covered in slush. It probably would not have been very passable anyway. So there's another access to a little network of little side roads that I wanted to explore, and it's a little further up here, and there's another bridge, in theory, across the river. It's not looking promising. I am finding a number of other little campsites along here. I don't know that any of them are better than that first campground that I came onto. So, I don't know. We'll just keep going and see. We'll see. So there's the main road out there. Here's a little side road I wanted to take. There's a gate. It's actually open. And the bridge is pretty clear. But beyond, both of the roads kind of go a little bit uphill before following the creek, and it is deep, slushy stuff. I know I'm not going to get very far. There's no point in even pushing up into it. I don't really want to pull a Jason, spend the afternoon digging myself out of slush. Well, that's too bad. I mean, I knew that was going to be a possibility. I was just kind of hoping I was going to get lucky here. So I did pass by a couple of roads that look like they went up onto sunnier hillsides. I could try and explore those. I really wasn't planning on going further up the road than this because I figured I was just going to gain too much elevation anyway. It does follow the river pretty closely, so maybe I'll go as far as I can go on the main road here, see if I find any other campsites, and then I can always drop back down and explore a couple of those other roads that I saw that look like might be able to get up them a little ways. Absolute worst case scenario, I did find a nice spot to camp. I can always go back to it.
So far, this is a pretty normal day of exploring the foothills of the Cascade Range in spring. It's not surprising to find my progress hampered by slippery leftover slush. The nice thing is, having already found a great spot to camp, I can consider that my hub for today and just fan out and explore various trails in this area, at least as far as the snow will let me, and I know I've got a good spot to spend the night.
Oh, it's getting deeper really quickly. I still have sort of ruts that I can get into that are almost down to the pavement. Alright, I think next clear spot I'm going to turn around. Can't even keep it in the ruts. It's not the worst slush I've ever been in. It's pretty cold up here, and it hasn't gotten super warm and as slippery as I've seen it, but the afternoon still has potential of getting warmer, and it is nonetheless slippery. It's nothing like the snow I was in a couple of weeks ago that was deeper than this, but it was fresh and crisp and super sticky, and I felt very comfortable driving in it. Here, it's just not worth the risk. Now, is this a situation where tire chains would get me further up the road? I don't know. I know some people are going to say, chain up, should have put chains on. But I'm not interested in going someplace in conditions by myself that would require chains in the first place. If the conditions are that bad, then I don't even want to mess with it. When the snow is fresh and crisp and sticky, I have no issue at all continuing on up the road, but to me, messing around with chains and slushy, slippery snow, it's not fun. It stops being fun. I'm not out here to defeat the snow. If that's what you want to do, be my guest.
Since it's still early and I've got a campsite located if nothing else comes up, I'm just checking out various little roads and trails I wasn't planning to explore today.
So I was about 75% sure I was going to camp at that little campground sort of area that I found. And I was just going back by it on my way to go explore some other roads just to, make sure I've thoroughly combed this area. And now the gate is closed. It got closed just in the past hour or so. Now I did pass a Forest Service ranger as I was coming back down. He was going up, and so he must have closed the gate. But dang, that's a bummer because that was really such a nice spot. I was looking forward to it, There's this little bog over here that's full of frogs. I don't know if you can hear that. Just seemed like a fun spot to camp.
As it turns out, this little spot is a group campground that has to be reserved in advance and prepaid online. There must have been a group using it this past weekend, and the Forest Service only just got up here today to lock it back up. So technically, I wasn't supposed to camp there anyway. I still have more trails to explore, and I'm sure I'll eventually stumble upon another option.
Dang, that's the first time I've crashed this. Oh. Looks like I've got some prop damage there, and there, and there. To be okay otherwise. Man, the sensors picked it up, but it didn't stop. It just ran into the tree anyway. Well, I've had pretty good luck generally with the sort of auto follow that the drone has. I mean, it pilots itself basically, and it's really good at dodging obstacles. I thought it would have just followed me around the corner there. Oh well. I have, it looks like I've got another set of props here. So I can swap out the props, but I will, I'm getting kind of hungry. I'll see if I can find a place to sit and have some lunch, and then maybe we can get the drone fixed back up and figure out what we're gonna do today. Well, I'm definitely gaining elevation here really quickly, but the forest is much more thin and the snow has all melted off up here.
There's less density of trees up here where a wildfire has clearly come through, and many of the dead trees have been removed. It's noticeably warmer up here than it was down in the more deeply forested valley along the river where the snow is keeping everything chilly, and I found a good spot to take a little lunch break. I'm surprised at how much elevation I've been able to gain, but there's just much less snow where the sun has been able to penetrate. It looks to me like this logging operation may have something to do with the thinned forest. This appears to be more of a management project because they're definitely not clear-cutting like a typical timber harvest.
Yeah, and back up into where there's a lot of snow, but it's clear this road has actually been plowed, which is nice. So I didn't get to really film this recovery very well. The fellow was in the process of putting chains on his tires when I got there, and I offered to just like help him get into a better position using the MAXTRAX and then pull him out with my truck, but he wanted to complete the process of putting his chains on. He was not a native English speaker, and normally, you know, I would talk to people and explain that I've got a YouTube channel and could I film, and it was just a little bit awkward. You know, I got a couple of shots here and there, but mostly we just worked on getting him out. The chains did not get him out. He was still stuck in that slush. But he was able to at least get himself into a better position for me to just pull him out. And we just hooked up, and I just backed up very, very gently. Just needed a little bit of pressure, pulling him down the hill out of the snow and got him back onto the pavement.
With his truck now on the pavement and blocking my progress, I have no choice but to reverse back down the road until I can find a wide enough spot to turn around without getting myself stuck like he did.
I don't remember last time I saw some place to turn around. I mean, at least the road is clear, so I'm not slipping. I've already gone at least half a mile like this.
After nearly a mile of reversing down this windy forest road, I'm finally turned around and making progress down a side road towards a campsite.
I was coming back down the road, and through the trees down the hill, I could see what looked like a great campsite. Found the little road going to it. This one's a little bit big. I don't know. Might see what I can do with it. You can see where someone has gone at it a little bit with an axe, but they didn't get very far.
This tree is quite a bit bigger than the bar on my little 12-inch chainsaw, but I'm going to see if I can get through it cutting from both sides.
Now, last time I cleared a tree off the road, I had someone complain that I didn't clear enough of it off the road. I mean, I took out a wide enough area for a semi-truck to go through, cleared all of my debris, which is more than what I find. And most of the time I find that random people have cleared trees. They make one cut, let it fall, and then they just drive over the top of it. At least I cleared everything out of the way. And we're gonna think carefully about what's gonna happen, what this tree's gonna wanna do. It is sort of tilted over the edge of the embankment there, but probably not enough to lift it up. So I think it's gonna wanna come down like this. So we'll need to finish the cut from underneath. So yeah, as you can see though, that is pinching at the top. It's opening up at the bottom. Just a little bit of wood left in there. So close. And as you can see, the roadway is fully cleared. Well, this is far from the most glamorous campsite I've ever found. It's really just a pretty raw logging landing. Looks pretty recent. It's warm and pleasant. I've just had so many damp, cold, wet, snowy, icy camping trips. It really feels good just to be kind of warm and dry. So we're definitely kind of on the fringe of one of the recent wildfires. I suspect this was the 2020 fire that we're seeing here. And I think that's what some of that thinning had to do with that those loggers were working on. You can see here there's patches of burnt areas and patches of green. I think we're sort of at the limits of where the fire reached up in this area.
Sometimes these little overnighters are serene and uneventful, and sometimes they've got low elevation snow and closed roads and sudden gate closures and drone crashes and loggers stuck in the slush and marathon reversing and fallen trees in the way. All part of the adventure, but not gonna lie, I'm definitely ready to air up and head home.